Your attention, we'll call this meeting to order of our City Council CRA meeting this December the 2nd, 2021. Could we all stand together for our Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Chair Blackwell.
Here.
Member Matheny.
Here.
Member Askew.
Here.
Member Trace.
Here.
Vice Chair Davis.
Here.
Member Loading.
Here.
Member Orvin.
Here.
I assume all of you have had an opportunity to review the October 2021 meeting minutes. Are there any corrections?
Your name right?
If not, could I have a motion for?
I make a motion.
A motion for Member Loading. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second for Member Askew. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And they are approved. The first item of new business is we have our Osceola County Appraiser presentation on the St. Cloud CRA.
I'm just going to do a very brief introduction. Antoinette Forbes, Economic
All right.
Development Manager. So I think it's been about a year. We had talked, or the CRA board had requested more training and just education about the CRA and the things that it's capable of. We had started with doing the fundamentals with RMA back in, I think, July or August of last year. We also had some board members that attended the FRA conference and met with the city of Cape Coral and talked about different mixed-use projects. So now this is our next phase where we've invited the Osceola County Property Appraiser's Office to give us just a summation about the CRA and our investments and how that has transcended to help our TIF.
Hello.
Hello, Ms. Scarborough.
How is everyone tonight?
It's a joy to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. So I'm going to start with kind of a brief overview of what I do and my responsibilities, and then go into a little bit about the county, St. Cloud, and then to the CRA. Okay? So my role is to determine fair market value for all properties, maintain the tax records, administer tax exemptions. My authority comes from the statutes. I'm a constitutional officer, elected just as you are, and my authority is 100% from the statutes. I don't make the policy. The Florida Department of Revenue is the oversight department over me. I'm not a division of the Board of County Commissioners or any city council. A lot of times people think that I work for you. I'm independent, and there's a reason for that. I set the value, you set the tax rate, the tax collector collects the taxes. Simple accounting basics. So my tax roll is cyclical. Everything I do is based as January 1st. So what's on that property as of January 1st. So if a home is built or a commercial building is built and it's not completed until February, it will not go on the tax roll until the following year. You have until March 1st to apply for any exemptions. June 1st, it is my job to have an estimate of values to all taxing authorities, city councils, South Florida Water Management, the county. My tax roll is due to Tallahassee July 1st. They do statistical analysis on it to make sure that I'm treating all properties fair and equitably across the board. Around August 16th, usually within a week of that time, I send the trim notices out. That gives you the estimated value that I placed on a property, any exemptions that have been administered, and then all of the tax rates that the taxing authorities are proposing. If someone disagrees with their value or does not agree with an exemption that was denied, they can file a petition to go in front of the Value Adjustment Board, and that's 25 days after the trim notice is mailed. October 1st, I finalize the tax roll, send it to the tax collector for him to start collecting taxes November 1st, and then the cycle starts all over again. So a little bit about Osceola County. We are the 8th fastest growing county in the country. Not in the state, but in the country. We actually were 5th when I started doing this presentation about a year and a half ago, so we've dropped a little. Our population has grown almost 45% from 2010 to 2020, according to the census. I'm sure we all see that driving around. Compared to the U.S., that's only grown by 7 almost 8% in that same time period. So in 10 years, we've added around 120,000 new residents. Osceola County has a total of 183,815 parcels, 28,000 plus tangible personal property, which would be a business equipment, or if you own a rental, would be any household furnishings in the rental. The total market value for Osceola County was $50.6 billion, and the total property taxes that were levied were $533 million. That's for the whole entire county. Our population, according to the U.S. Census, around 388,000. So since '05, you can see the trend of the values, and the boom was around '07, '08. We had hit around 40 billion. We have definitely passed that, and it has slowly gone up once it dropped. So new houses that were added. So in the height of the market, we added around 5,600 new single-family homes. As you can see, it dropped significantly when the economy crashed. And the lowest amount, I think, is 476. We got back up to 5,800 in 2019, and it dropped slightly for 2020. I have not personally done any research, but I've been told that that's attributed to some of the developers holding back some of their homes because they don't have enough to sell. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I've been told by the realtors. I anticipate it to continue to grow this year. Everybody thinks all the growth is usually in one area, and this map will show you that it's everywhere. This is the northern part of the county, which is the most populated. Obviously, the southern part is all ranches. So you can see that there's growth everywhere. Margaritaville, Champions Gate, Story Lake and Tapestry over near the Loop, Kindred, south of St. Cloud, Narcoossee, Hickory Tree, all the way to Harmony. So it's not just one area of the county that's growing, it's the whole entire county. In 2020, I added $1.8 billion in new construction, which equates to just under $5 million on a daily basis. That's for the county. Now to the city of St. Cloud. In the city, you can see that in 2005, it was just under $2 billion in value. It rose in 07, 08, and then dropped down, and it has steadily climbed to where it is about $5 billion as of October of 2021. The city of St. Cloud added $216 million in new construction in 2020, which is 59,000 daily. And as you can see, that's both residential and commercial. Now to the CRA. This is a map of all the CRAs in Osceola County. So St. Cloud is not the only one with CRA. The city of Kissimmee has them, and the county has several. So there's several that are along 192 all the way out to the west side of the county. So I believe that the St. Cloud CRA was created in '06, was the base year, with the value of $148 million. Kind of stayed steady for a little bit and has gone up a little bit, 6%, sorry, year over year, to the most recent being $206 million. So from '06 to 2020, that's a 20% increase. So the more that's added in the CRA, the more that value will grow. Some of the growth that you see is the total commercial market is obviously where the value is, because those are generally higher. I'm going to have to put my glasses on. I can't see that far away. Next is a pie chart that will show you where the value is. Most of it is in office space. You've got retail, restaurant. A little bit comes from the hospital, but those are all the different classifications that add value to the CRA. So office, I believe in the next few slides, you'll see that the new construction has been more in office buildings or office space. In 2020, the new construction was $11 million, and the total market value was $44 just for the office space. You can see it significantly grew And when I'm saying 2020, that's based on growth in when it says 2021, that's based on growth that happened in 2020. Again, remember, everything I do is based on January 1st. Retail values have kind of stayed flat. They did decrease slightly, but not by much over the last few years. Industrial has grown. The blue is the market value, where it has risen. The new construction is orange. There wasn't as much new construction this year, but the two prior seem to be pretty busy with the industrial growth. There are residential properties within the St. Cloud CRA. We have 723 single-family homes, 50 multifamily, less than 10 units, and 17 vacant land. So the value of the 200, I believe it was 205 or 206 million, of that 71 million is attributed to residential, which is 35% of the total taxable value in the CRA. And that was a 9% increase over the taxable value from 2020 to 2021. And the taxable value is what you use to create your millage rate. I'm asked almost daily, what was the impact of COVID on property values? As you can see from the slides, there wasn't an impact on most properties. Hotels were impacted the most. Those values did decrease this year. Restaurants were impacted. They did decrease. Residential, obviously not. We can see it going on out there. Again, everything is as of January 1st. So this was the first tax roll that I had where we looked at what the impact was. And again, the previous markets I mentioned did decrease, but most did not. And that is all that I have for you. Do you have any questions?
We certainly thank you for your report. Excellent job. Do we have any questions? Councilmember Trace.
Of course I do. Thank you very much, Katrina. So I just did some quick math. $206 million in taxable value in the CRA itself. Mm-hmm. At 6.7 mils, it's $1.38 million in taxable revenue the taxes that come into the county, and they actually give us $1.1 million for our CRA fund. So they almost give us all of the property taxes that come in for our CRA back to us to then fund the endeavors we have.
I do believe that all the funds for the CRA come back to the CRA.
Yeah, so it wasn't even like a TIF where as the value went up, that money was kind of scraped off and put into the bucket. It seems like the entire bucket was filled with.
Right, when the value goes up, that increases your bucket. The
Yeah.
base year is one.
We've got a different agreement than the other CRAs. So it's like a defined amount, which is kind of nice.
Okay.
Especially because we get all of the tax revenue. And then the hospital going, some of the funny math might be because of the hospital was on the tax rolls before, and then when it got bought out by Orlando Health, then it came off the tax rolls. So I don't know if that had a...
That will impact,
yeah.
yes.
And I don't know if that happened because you're behind and all that stuff. So.
I do not know exactly when the sale happened, but it probably was after the first of the year, so that impact won't be felt until next year.
Okay. Well, that's great. Thank you very much for the update.
We have any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Scarborough.
Thank
Nice
you.
to have you here. Thank you so much for all the work that you do.
Oh, thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is the Paint, Pave program. We want to call that the PPP.
Quadruple P.
Yeah.
Antoinette Forbes, Economic Development Manager. This is going to be fun to say these three letters over and over again. So the plant,
I think
Paint,
plant pave
and
is easier to
pave
say than plant.
program. The program, we'll just refer to it as that. The program came out of our redevelopment consultants when they did their presentation about the 5-year plan and small incremental things that could be done to improve the overall CRA. They mentioned this program, and so as promised, we're bringing it back now to you all and made some slight modifications so that it's offer some uniformity with our BSIG program. So this program is specifically for single-family and multifamily two-unit properties in disrepair and residential areas. And as our county appraiser just referenced, there's 723 residential single-family homes in the CRA. Under this plan, the program will provide up to $2,000 per property for exterior improvements, and those improvements can include pressure cleaning, painting, landscaping, and minor facade repairs. As I stated, it is going to be in uniform with the BSIG program, and that the budget will be taken from that line item as well. I also wanted to mention that it will be on a first-come, first-served basis, and they must apply and be awarded before performing the work, and they will have up into a year after it's awarded for them to expend those funds. This is a reimbursable grant, if I had not specified that before. So once they apply and are awarded, they are now issued the approval to begin the work, and once they provide their proof and documentation, we will reimburse them for expenses. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Oh, I'm sorry, Member Loading.
Oh,
Get you first. I was looking for lights.
Okay, so it's not a matching grant.
No, it is not.
It's full out, it's a full-out grant. And it says, if the property is sold within 18 months, then they have to be
Speaking to your mic.
Oh, sorry. If it's sold within 18 months, it has to be repaid in full. How are you going to keep track of that? That's my
So
concern
we,
on that.
that's
Sorry.
okay, I wanted to make sure you're,
What's that?
I wanted to make sure you finished
I'm
your
done.
question.
Go ahead.
Okay. So we'll keep track by monitoring the property appraiser site to make sure if there's any transfer. I don't anticipate there being a large voluminous amount of applications that we're unable to monitor them on a fairly consistent basis. The same with our other grants. We now require attestation agreements that commit them that once if you are out of compliance for some reason, for example, if you sell the property within that 18 months, that they are agreeing that they will repay us back that money.
Okay, so like at closing, I mean, it's not something that's going to happen at closing. You're just going to require them. It's not like
Right.
it's a, okay.
Right.
Member Davis.
Along that same line, we're not recording anything on the deed?
No, we're
So
not.
that a title company would pick it up?
Correct. We're not doing any UCCs,
Okay.
so any lien searches, you won't be able to see it.
And is that like a declining payback, or if they sell it 17 months and 15 days from now, they owe us 100% of it back?
There is no tiered system.
All right.
Member Matheny.
Thank you. So these were the same kind of questions that I called and was asking the same things. And I guess initially when I read it, I must have missed the thing where it was, they have to like get permission before they get paid back. I thought when I read it, it was just like, they could come after the fact, which that cleared up a lot of my concerns. But I was worried about that too. I was like, how are you really going to track 18 months? And how, I just don't see that actually happening. And then, so if someone signs the attestation form that you're saying, and then they don't pay us, then what happens?
So we'll make the request, obviously, and according to their agreement, they did commit to reimburse us back the funds. Very similar to our COVID grants that we do for businesses, it's the same motto. So we don't do a recordation of any kind, but we are we're doing an honor agreement that they are committing to pay us back the
Right,
funds.
that's what I was kind of wondering.
Right.
Is there any teeth to them repaying you? Like if someone's like, oh, well, and they're gone, like.
And can I
Yes.
also add, I think it's important that the work that they're doing, those type of improvements are more important than the recapture of those funds. In the event that they may sell the property early, at least we have an improvement of the property.
Yeah, yeah. No, I like the program because I know when we had the CRA person come,
consultant.
this was something I thought was an interesting kind of quick fix and like kind of, and I think it feeds on each other too. Like when your neighbor fixes their house up, then you want to fix your house up, and then I think it kind of like spreads. But that was one of my concerns, was that 18-month repayment. Like, I don't really know that we'll ever be able to track that or get that back, so.
Mr. Davis?
Is there something set in stone for the 18 months, or that's just a number we picked, or?
So we modeled it after Palm Beach, which is where they have it currently. And the consultant recommended the 18 months, but that is subject if you'd like to offer a different recommendation.
I don't know. I'd have an appetite for something less, around 6 months, but I
That's exactly what I was going to suggest.
don't know what the rest of the board would.
Member Loading?
Same here, but I was thinking more like a year. But, and the other question was, what is the total amount of funds that,
So the total amount of funds on that line item is 100,000. So if we broke it down, it was actually 75,000 that is allocated for, and I use that term loosely, allocated, because it's just one pot. But it's 75,000 for the BSIG, the commercial facade, and then there's 25,000 for historic preservation. But both of those two sub-items are within the same line item, and they all are applicable to the BSIG program.
Member Trace?
Okay, so I was going to be, my next question was how much is in it? And that's the commercial facade grants and then this 3P program.
Right.
Okay.
4P.
3P program, so that's important. The 6 months I think is fine, and because if the house gets sold, then it's on the tax roll for a higher amount, and that just is generally better anyway, right? So then you get more people to come in and make more investments, so I think it'll help. So I'm fine with an adjustment to 6 months or 12 months or whatever.
Mr. Loading, your light's on. Do you have something else? Good. So, Mr. Manzares, so do we just simply have, if we want to change to 6 months, 12 months, we just simply have a motion for that?
Yes, sir.
Would anyone like to make a motion? I'll make a motion for 6 months.
Second.
We have a second from Mr. Askew. Motion by the mayor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And it so carries. Is there any other discussion or questions? Thank you. I look forward to this program. Anything to make a difference in that area would be just a great investment, I think. Next, we have a staff report update on resolution number 2021-004 CR funding balance allocation.
Good evening, Wendy Colazzo, Finance Director. In front of you and in your packets, what you would have is, as you recall, fiscal year 2021 is currently under audit right now, and as per the statute in resolution number 2021-04004 CR, is the allocation of any and all reserves for that such fiscal year at the period time of 9/30/2021 before closure. So this is unaudited. The CRA, as of that date, has $786,939, which was lower than we expected a little bit, so we adjusted those amounts. The appropriations selected, or the three projects right now selected, are, as you see listed, $100,000 for the VFW facade and construction. In the downtown parking garage, the portion will be $386,939, and the St. Cloud Hotel would be $300,000. That in totality is $786,939, which after the approval, if you so wish, will be booked and reserved and restricted for these three projects and those purposes. Yes, sir.
Is there a time period that they have to be used by?
No, sir. They just have to be reserved for those projects at the end of the fiscal year.
Councilmember Matheny.
Thank you. Are we going to talk about the plans?
No, ma'am, I was just showing those.
Okay,
They still have
okay.
to go to Historic Preservation Board before we finalize those.
Okay.
That's just what the architect came up with initially.
And then, okay, and then are they going to go to the VFW to?
Yes,
Bless it as
yes, I'm
well?
talking to
Okay.
Rafi. so-
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Because I know it wasn't in our packet, but. it's
Right.
here.
Do we have any other questions?
I guess one, do we Do we have something in the foreseeable future, like, I mean, really, that we're looking to spend for the parking garage in the next 12 months?
Mayor?
Yes, Councilman.
Yes, sir. Mr. Davis, we are getting ready to put out a RF request for proposal and use a private developer to see if they'll come in and give us a plan for that. So that would be proffered towards design. And as well, the board asks us also to look at putting it behind the hotel parking garage. So that's what we're going to do, is ask for that RFP. And so one of the things we'd offer is both the property and money for the planning and design to see if we could expedite.
So that,
But it will come back to
They're
this, it'll definitely come back to the board before we make any final decision.
so you're looking for them to do a design build, but you're thinking as a added incentive to throw some money towards the design element?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, that's correct.
Anything special about the 386? I mean, other than I know it needs to balance with the 786, but it's just
No,
a
sir.
rough allocation of numbers?
We just grabbed the number out of the air just to make those numbers balance for the fund balance
Right, understood.
for design.
Any other questions?
And then, are we gonna talk about the St. Cloud Hotel now, or,
We-
I guess,
We're certainly free to do so, are we not?
I mean, because
up
if
to the
we
board.
approve this, then that's.
Correct.
Do you want the update on that, sir?
Yes, please.
The current strategy for this, obviously, we're reserving towards the St. Cloud Hotel, but with the new injection of the ARP money, the ARPA money, the American Recovery money, it's the thought process that we would take American Recovery to replenish the Economic Development Fund that pumped out about $1 million out there for COVID-related things. Remember, the nonprofit and the small businesses. We take a portion of that, refund that to be able to use the Economic Development Restricted Fund to go do the St. Cloud Hotel. That's a much cleaner break with this and using reserves. So we'd end up, like I said, using American Recovery, which we'd validated. No original, there was some talk about, loaning it out and getting into that. This is a direct correlation. Economic development would prove and justify that there would be new jobs available, and it would be a very clean use and program related to the CRA, and in conjunction and compliance with every type of funding we have.
Any other questions? Councilmember Matheny?
Okay, I just got super confused, I'm sorry.
Okay?
So, what's in front of us here on the slide is to use CRA dollars.
Yes.
And so what does that have to do with the OUC fund?
What it has to do with is that for the St. Cloud Hotel, we were originally going to take these $300,000, loan them out to the people that were doing the St. Cloud Hotel for economic development. Using the American Recovery Fund, we can pay back what we lost in revenue for using it to invest into the economic development of the CRA, right? So we would use these the funding source would be the American Recovery money paying back the economic development. We've got to grab the money
But
from.
isn't that a separate pot than the CRA dollars?
No, I think she's talking about the economic development portion of the CRA funding,
Yes, sir.
not.
Oh,
Not that.
okay.
Yes, sir.
Because
Thank you.
one conversation I had was using the OUC fund, so that's why when you were saying economic development fund, I was.
The economic development of the
Of
CRA.
OUC,
Yes,
yeah,
yes, sir.
yeah. Okay, okay.
Do we have any other questions? Mr. Davis?
I do. Since the parking garage is kind of just nebulous at this point, I would be amenable to increasing the hotel some. They have really stuck in there. I have no idea. I don't know what he paid for it. I have no idea what he has in it. I got to imagine it is way more than what it would be worth at this point in time, but he's stuck in there. He's stuck in there through COVID, through all the problems with the building. I think it's going to be a huge asset, and I think it's also going to help make your parking garage, once the hotel gets done, I think it'll help you with the proposals coming back on the parking garage, if that's up and operating, or within the foreseeable future it's up and operating. So I would be, like I say, amenable to moving that around a little bit and giving them even a little more, but that's just one vote out of 7, so.
Councilmember Trace?
I think the group's here. Did you guys want to make a presentation or have a discussion at all? Okay, so if we could do that, so we can figure out what they want to use the funds for and how we're structuring this.
Good evening to everybody. Yeah,
Could you
I'm
state
back
your
in
name?
town.
Could you state your name for the record, even though we know who you are?
I'm Lake Albert, owner of St. Cloud Hotel.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm back in the country to make sure that this hotel move forward and bring businesses to the town. Our original plan, nothing has been changed. We just have delayed during the COVID. 18 months, everything has been stocked. Prices of the lumber company has been 3 times up. Labor's more than 2 times up. So we have been suffering. With the budget we have been spent so far, we could finish the hotel so far. So we have been spend a lot of money to create an asset for the city. So this is the short history of the hotel for last 2 years. So what we did, last presentation that we have made with the historic district for the facade, we have done, let's say, the maximum we can to add value to the main street and to the city of St. Cloud. So we didn't go to the typical renovation, we go deeply renovation to build another building inside of the building. So in this case, we try to save all the bricks who brings thousands of bricks are thousands of memories of all St. Cloud population. So we tried hard to keep this in life. And you have been seeing so far. So we have conversation with our project manager, like what we're going to do with the St. Cloud Hotel. I said that we're not pulling back. We're going to finish it. We're going to call it luxury hotel, boutique hotel. We cannot call it 5-star because it has been designed 110 years back. So that's going to be a jewelry for the city. I keep saying the same because I'm seeing it. The quality of the job, I see already some of the members have been visiting. So it's going to be an asset. And it's not my hotel. You're going to join seeing every day other business owners already asking, jump into the country, to the city. Like even today, we have Albanian investor from Orlando asking for jump into the area. So we just create values. In our pocket, we just lose. And by the way, during the COVID, we didn't terminate even one single employer. Ms. Irene and our CPA can see that we didn't terminate people. We keep them without in Hunter Arms, it was almost empty. We still keep the people, plus we hire 2 more managers. So this is all that I have to say. If you have any question, like helping me that expressing myself better, so.
Awesome. Do we have any questions? Well, Councilmember Trace?
Oh, you can go.
Well, I certainly took a tour of what has happened inside, and my kudos to Mr. Mateo for the incredible changes that he has helped brought about on the inside. I think what you've got is you're going to have a great product that'll be a stable, solid product because of his work, and so he has certainly been a tremendous addition. I certainly like the potential that I see, and I certainly want to see this project finished as quickly as we can, and I would certainly support whatever we can do to help make that possible. Councilmember Trace.
Thank you. Yeah, and I did a tour of it today, and from the outside, you can't tell everything that's happened because I've done a ton of work inside. I imagine 80% of that was something you didn't anticipate doing and spending money on. But I just need to get clarity on kind of what the money's being used for. Is this a loan and it gets repaid back? Is this, just a grant? And then a completion timeline of when this can get open? Because even if we put $300,000 into it, there's way more than $300,000 worth of work that has to happen. So, like, when does it get done?
Mr. Sturgeon, I think you'd like to.
No, I think you were asking Mr. Lake a question.
Yeah,
Okay.
Answer is there that in order to conclude to a final and bottom line, we need to be compared with other businesses around. For example, you have a lot of building that's been renovated lately for last 10 years. We need to be compared so we can actually see the exact value what we are creating. I will give you a simple example. if we go to the original traditional repairing, as the last 40 years, 4 owners has been doing in the St. Cloud Hotel, we could reach to the conclusion to have 150,000 per month turnover in rooms. That means 6.5% tourist taxes, sale taxes 8%, going to come directly to the city. So in this case, if we have 50,000 turnover per month and 150,000, we are upgrading 3 times more. And not only that, we are bringing to the St. Cloud people who can afford to pay $180 per room. So this kind of population, we need them on town. We want to our children, we want to upgrade, we want that. I mean, that has to be in this way. So that's why, as an investor, as I keep saying also the other meeting, like before 2 years, I could invest this money somewhere else in Osceola County, buying a land and building a hotel, and typical hotel, the country style. You're going to have this everywhere. I try to save as much as memories as I can. Even with the ballroom, we created exactly the same as it was before. Walkway, we save all the wood. You know how dollar has been expensed to save all this wood and clean them up and to have them for the furniture? So it's your hotel. I mean, what else I can say? It's jewelry for the city. You can enjoy it every day seeing, and you can enjoy it. Like, and you have the taxpayer jumping to the city. So this is all that I can say.
Councilmember Trace?
And thank you, and I appreciate that, and the investment you guys are making, but typically when I'm making an investment in something, I get more than just a line on a sheet that says $300,000 for the return that's going to come in with a timeline and budget and everything.
Well,
So it's
yeah, that can be. Actually, right now, we're paying taxes in St. Cloud Hotel around $8,800 per year. With our investment, you're going to have per year $55,000 to $65,000 per year. So almost you are like 600% more. So you are helping us, and we really appreciate and spending your time and hearing me, but also you are increasing the tax value. The income is going to be 6 times more than it is right now.
Oh, and I don't doubt, like,
Yeah.
this project will pay back. You guys will make good money.
Can I help?
There will be tax
answer
revenue.
that question?
It's,
Because I also think that he's.
Step up to the mic, please.
Yes. Hi.
So
If you'll share your
project
name.
manager, so
Yeah.
you know Mateos already. So
Okay.
may I sit, and if there's another question, I can come up.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Hi, Mateo Hodo, project manager. I think I've met every single one of you. I've shown you the building. To answer your question, I don't have, truthfully speaking, I don't have a number for you to tell you that I want an X amount. What I want is to protect what I build. And I've explained to you all the situation that we're at right now, where we're running out of time on the underlayment for the roof, we're running out of time on the waterproofing of the sheathing on the outside, and I want to stop the water from getting in the building. So what I want is a commitment to help regenerate the facade on the outside, because it's a mutual investment for both the city and for us. I would like almost a commitment to help with roof, windows, and stucco on the building. The market, it's crazy right now, as you all know. Materials, prices are changing. So I want to keep it very kind of simple and very straightforward, to where you can hold all the funds, to where I can hire who I would like to hire to create the quality of product that I would accept on this project. I would want to hire somebody that will do a long-lasting quality work. So basically, the roof is going to be a metal roof that will have a lifetime guarantee on that and a 50-year guarantee on the color. The windows, I want to put a lifetime window on the building that's wood on the inside and aluminum clad on the outside with a lifetime finish on the product. I would like to do a stucco job that will last on that building probably the same amount of time. And I think that after all of you have seen the building, you probably realize that it's a product that will be in that same condition that it's finished for a really long period of time. And what Albert was trying to say is that we did some research and did some appraised value from the Osceola County and what the tax rate would be with the new appraised value of what it would be when it's finished. So the increase in tax pay is tremendous. So he was basically trying to say the benefit that you would get. But what I want to remind everybody and what my goal with this building is, it's truly reviving the building to what it once did for this city. And I would like for all of you to understand that. I want this building to really become a building that gets a lot of love and care from the community and not be the building that everybody in the community like hates. And it's so sad to see a building go like that. And you promising us to help fund this without having a certain number in a way, but making it more of actually reviving this project together. Because I have mentioned it even on the previous meetings that I've had with the city, even the very first meeting to where I was taking over the project, to where I basically mentioned, if from my perspective, the city is just as responsible as whoever has owned it over the years to actually degrade it to the point that it's at right now. And actually, from my perspective, the city is also responsible because whatever work was being done, even during Albert's ownership, that had to be totally redone, was not right. But yet it was passed, and yet it was continuing. And I'm not saying that in order to put blame or fingers on everybody. I understand that most of that is because people just want to see it finished. But it's not a product that can get finished like that. It's not the type of building that is a new construction that you can build fast. It's the type of building that needs love, it needs care, it needs a lot of thought behind everything that happens, because every single piece of wood that you move, it creates movement on the other parts of the building that it all needs to be thought out and carefully done. So I need you to kind of like truly, really like grasp that it requires all of us to really bring it to life and for it to be really become a community asset to where it does for the city what it once did, because it's really the building that built this city. And everybody in the city has forgotten to be grateful to it.
And I appreciate what you guys have done in the building. I know you guys have put a lot of thought and care into the design and the implementation, and you guys are going down the right path and doing everything top notch. It's just a matter of if this was a bank and you came to a bank and asked for $300,000 without a budget, a schedule, anything, like, what do you think the response would be?
Totally.
I mean, it's just
No.
that's kind of where I'm coming from.
I totally understand 100%. So when the project stopped, I was getting quotes for the roof. And even the roof, the underlayment that's on, even that company that I hired to do that roof, would not guarantee that price. And actually, as a matter of fact, I'm meeting them tomorrow because the price has changed. So understanding kind of everything that's going on in the world right now with COVID and how unstable everything is, it's also making it difficult for me to give you something concrete. I don't like to overpromise and underachieve. I like to do the other way around. And I like to keep it very clean for all of us, to where I'm not really asking you for money, a specific amount to do this, because I also don't want people or the community to think that, oh, they got $300,000, but they didn't invest or didn't do this. Like, I simply just want your help with roof, windows, stucco, and siding. And once I pick the contractors that I'm going to use, I will have the quotes. And once we go under contract, then you will know exactly what the quote is and how much time it will take per job. The very first job that needs to be done is the roof. That cost, I don't have. And I don't want to give you a cost that I don't have. I don't want to be untruthful to you. You understand?
100%.
So, because it matters. I think transparency matters because I want you to know my intent with this building and how my heart is in it. So when I give you the roof quote, it will have the quote and it will have the amount of time that it will take to complete that job. But the very first job that needs to be done is the roof. The windows, I have met 3 different people and I'm waiting on the quotes for the windows. The particular window that I want to use for the building that will last a lifetime, it's on our advantage because it's not ordered as much, so it's not on back order 4 to 6 months. It's actually a 2 to maybe 4 months. So that will help. The stucco, it's not a simple stucco job. All of that paint that's on the outside of that brick needs to be taken out. There is still holes on the brick from the outside. So we fixed everything from the inside and wire meshed and stuccoed the inside, but we have to do the same thing on the outside. So all of that needs prep. And even the contractors that I met to do that stucco are also having a hard time price the job. So this is the type of project that even doing the work on the inside, it's a very difficult project for someone to just give you a price to do really anything.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So like, I want to.
If I could jump in, Mateo and,
Yes.
and Mayor. So this is staff's recommendation. This is a administrative hearing for the fund balance allocation for $300,000. And my proposal is that this be a grant with a clawback provision if they don't meet certain deadlines to get this done. We don't want this to drag on in perpetuity. So this is just allocating the funds. And time is of the essence because of the roof. And I learned a long time ago, the first thing you fix is always the roof because you've done a lot of interior work that could be destroyed if we get a heavy rainstorm. So that's kind of the position that I want to recommend from staff is, you know, we need to negotiate this a little bit more. But this is an allocation, and this is a great discussion to have. And again, I know you don't know some of the pricing. The other provision I'd like to see that the CRA still retain those funds, and we would pay those as the receipts come in.
Yes.
It would not be, you know, here's a check and
Yes.
nothing happens for 6 months.
I think that's a win-win situation on both of our ends. And I also wanted to make it a win-win situation even for the contractors that are kind of doing the work. So I don't want to get just random prices or random people, but I want everybody that's going to do the work to really understand the extent that I want to do the work. So I don't want to hire somebody to do stucco on the outside and give them the contract and then to slap stucco a certain way. Like, there is process that I want to go behind that will make that stucco job take a little bit longer, but the lifespan of that job will be much greater. So
Thank you very much. I think we understand that. Councilmember Matheny.
Thank you. It sounds like all of us took the tour. Did we all take it? So thank you, Mateo, for the tour.
Excellent.
And definitely it was a way different experience than my tour a year and a half ago. And, you know, you can tell I just renovated a house, and that was a nightmare enough. So, I mean, doing this hotel, COVID, windows, everything's on a delay, nobody's available, materials, and, you know, pricing, it's all a nightmare. I've been going through on a little baby scale. But one of the things I was going to bring up, which the city manager just covered, was kind of that, like, I think what we were talking about is the dollar amount, and then they would have to get quotes and then deliver them contracts and give them to the city, and the city would have to kind of do as a construction type loan, right? Like, that we wouldn't just strike a check and give them X amount of dollars. Like, they would have to do draws like the contractor, is what we've talked about. And so like that really hasn't come up in here, but I'm assuming we're not going to write a check for $300,000 and hand it over. It would be like retained on our side, and then, you know, the allocation of funds would go out up to the dollar amount that we set. That makes me feel more comfortable with the money as well. But I think they've done a great job in there. It's really very nice.
Thank you.
And you can, you know, actually see, like, oh, it's a hallway. Oh, that's going to be a dining room. Oh, you know, and I loved that they had stacked all that wood up outside and saved it. Just, you know, had done everything. Because I was like, what happened to all that nice woodwork that was in the lobby? Like, is that gone? You know, I was trying to find out where everything was. But that would make me certainly feel more comfortable to kind of take that process.
It would also make me feel much more comfortable if you held the funds. I want you to hold the funds. I want this to be an open book. I actually want the whole community to know exactly where those funds went and to know exactly what got paid. You understand? Like, I'm trying to make it a win-win situation for all of us involved, and making it an absolute wonderful product. Ultimately, that's what my goal is. It's to create the best product for everyone.
Member Urban.
Yeah, I'd just like to say I took the tour with Mateo as well. I'm very impressed on what's been done to the hotel, and I appreciate your passion for the project. It's definitely something that is very important to St. Cloud, so I appreciate that. Just echoing Councilmember Matheny's statement about just paying as they come in, I definitely would like to see that too. And once the stucco and the windows and roof are finished, is there a plan for the interior of the building, or to finish that?
Yes. So it's exactly why Albert is here, so that we. But I actually need to explain it to you a little further, right? So the stucco of the building kind of holds us up from doing the MEP work inside. Why? Because the mechanical room and the electrical room are actually located in the two-story building that was in the back that we demoed out totally. And because it was not historic and it was too jeopardized to try to fix, it would have been a waste of time and money to try to keep that. So those being gone, it needs the main building to be stuccoed before that building can be built, and the MEP to be done on the inside. So it's adamant that we get the roof done, get the windows ordered, start working on prepping the outside of the main building to be stucco ready, so that the moment we install the windows, we can get the stucco done, remove the scaffold, build the buildings in the back, and then continue the MEP work. Does that make sense? So it's holding a lot of things up. And the other thing that also needs to be structurally made solid as well is the restaurant, to where I'm storing all of the wood that we're going to use for finished wood. But so I think to like sum it up, I would not, like, another thing that I wanted to mention is that I would love for that downtown parking garage to be something that we can do, because I want the hotel to have parking, because it will secure the longevity of that investment for both the city and for the hotel. That hotel needs parking, because if that hotel has 38 rooms operating and all of that commercial space on the first floor, that's going to create a little parking headache. And if somebody else builds that parking garage, and then they want to charge too much money because then we know we need the parking, then it kind of doesn't help the hotel. You see what I'm saying? So I totally understand that you need an RFP, and we will put an RFP together, but we really would love the land, and we will develop it exactly to what you want, with a promise that it will be developed, but after the St. Cloud Hotel is finished. Like I want to be fully transparent that we would do it, just not until after the hotel is finished. So temporarily, we would probably clean it up, tar it, use it for parking, finish the hotel, start operating the hotel, and then start construction for whatever you would desire for that parking lot.
Member Askew.
Boy, I wish people could see what we saw when we walked through that building, and I've seen it through just about every single state that it's in. And thank you from Mateo and Albert for bringing it forward. And I also like to thank staff and Bob and Joe downstairs that helped and guided you along your way. I noticed that Main Street's in here as well. Main Street, do you have anything to say for the St. Cloud Hotel? Might as well, you're here, Paula.
Paula Stark, Executive Director of St. Cloud Main Street. Well, of course, you know we have something to say. Most of you all know that we have kind of been involved in this hotel for many, many years. Even before Albert came, we were trying to find ways to secure the building and to renovate it and put it back where it needed to be. And luckily, in Albert and Mateo, especially you can tell the passion from Mateo, that they want the same thing that we want. So our board of directors have taken the position that we would support them being able to have assistance. It's one of those arenas where you can do the private-public partnership and assist them with this. They've already put so much money into this project, it would be way beyond any kind of matching anybody would have to do for a grant. So I don't think the dollars that you would allocate to that even come close to the other avenues that we would go down with another project. This is going to be significant for downtown. It will make a huge change almost immediately. So we support this 100%. And if there's any other assistance that Main Street can provide, we'll be happy to do that. Mateo and I talk on a regular basis. Also, I do have a letter this evening that Representative Hawkins provided in support. I introduced Albert to Representative Hawkins, and they met, and he went through the building. And I have copies of the letter if you all want copies of it, where he is in complete support of it and would be happy to assist in whatever way he can, including if Albert needs assistance in getting some of his workers into the country to help complete the project. So this is available, and I will give this to staff to pass out to you. If you have any other questions, we're always available to answer those. But I think you can see just from previous things that we've done that this is kind of, you know, a no-brainer for us all. I think we have to move this project off. And if we get the facade going and they're working on it and people see all of that on the outside, it will make a huge difference with the community and the conversation and the perception that's going on. It will change everything immediately. So that's where we are. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Member Matheny.
Thank you. I just wanted to read from our website about the CRA. It's the CRA is established for the purposes of carrying out redevelopment activities that include reducing or eliminating blight, improving the tax base, creating and retaining employment opportunities, and encouraging public and private investments in the CRA. I feel like check, 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 check.
Yes.
I'd like to see if we could move forward with approving a dollar amount, and then if there was a way to do it, empower the city manager and the city attorney to like work all the details out so that it doesn't have to come back to us again and delay it. Because I know time is of the essence. I mean, even if you had the money today, it's probably 30 weeks for windows, you know, I mean.
No, that roof will have to really be done.
Well, I'm just saying, like there's delays in material,
Yes,
there's delays in everything. So I just would like not to drag it out to another meeting. I mean, that's what I would like to do. I don't know how the other members feel about that, or if the city manager or attorney are okay with that kind of a proposition.
Member
whatever the board
Davis,
directs.
would you like to speak first?
I was trying to clarify something that Main Street had mentioned. So we're looking at giving them a grant so we can hire non-American workers? Is that what I heard there? So we can import people to work instead of American work?
No, not really. What Mr. Albert would like to do is take specialized workers to do specific jobs on that building. That would be, because one of the biggest struggles that I've had with this hotel, especially down here, it's lack of care and lack of craftsmanship from everybody that has worked in it so far.
So we don't have any American craftsmen that we can hire?
No, we do. They're very hard to find down here, and if you can help me find them, I'll be very happy. And I would not go through, trust me, Joel, if you can find them and help me get them, then it'll probably be less time than bringing somebody from overseas. But that has, I guess maybe what the representative was saying is that he's willing to help us in any way. It doesn't necessarily have to be that route. But just to not get this out of subject, my main concern is the building and getting this building going.
Member Trace?
Okay. I am perfectly fine with the investment being made. My gripe is about it being a grant, and just a grant, here you go, with no plan or schedule of when it's going to be done. So how about this? $300,000 loan secured by the property and forgiven at certificate of completion within 36 months.
That will work. It kind of works the same as a grant, but it kind of assures you more, which is great. It's wonderful. It works for me. I don't think 300,000 is going to be enough to do the roof, the windows, and the stucco on that building. So instead of, do you want to?
All I see is a number on paper and a half-done building, and I just want to make sure it gets completed.
Believe me, I want to get that building completed, and I want to get that building completed. The roof will go on there, if the funds are available, the roof will probably go on there within 30 days. The windows will go on there within 3 to 4 months. The moment that I know the time schedule from the materials, then I will update you that. How about we do that? How about we give updated time schedules? So with each job, we'll do the roof, we'll say the roof will be completed at this time, and then we'll do the windows will be completed at this time, because even the windows, they need work, like they need waterproofing prior to the installation, and then waterproofing after the installation.
I get it. I don't need to know what goes into the sausage. I just need the
Yes,
sausage
so
done.
I am totally right with you, and I actually agree with you 100% that way it's cleaner for everybody, and it works for everybody. And it assures you that it's gonna go there and it's gonna get done, and you're gonna get your investment back, which is a finished product. And we're gonna get what we needed, which is a finished product. So that works fine for me.
Yeah.
But I can tell you right now that 300 it's definitely not enough to do those.
Oh, I know, and you're going to be another million or two, 3, 4.
So can we allocate then a little more? Because I would hate to allocate that much and then come back to you and say, I'm not done.
I'll make a motion that we continue this to the next meeting.
Well, the fund balance allocation needs to happen.
That's fine. We can put it into the parking garage for now. And then reallocate it and move it next meeting.
The next meeting is in February, unless we have a special meeting. My recommendation is we allocate the fund balance. We allow the city manager and the city attorney to negotiate with him for the roof, and then we'll have that project completed within 30 to 45 days. I'm not going to hold you to 30 because of supply chain. And then we'll come back for the next meeting to see how we allocate the rest of the funds or increase those funds based on.
Or are we going to do a percentage of the 300 towards the roof? Or you could eat up all 300 at the roof?
What was the estimate you told me on the roof? And I understand that things change in weeks now, but.
I will know for sure tomorrow. I'm re-meeting with them tomorrow because the last quote is not, they're not honoring it. They're not honoring the last quote.
Well, no, but
And it's not
we're
our
having that
intention
issue.
to pay 100% of your costs. So if it goes up, I mean, that's not my intention anyway. If it goes up, it goes up. I'm not looking at this as that we're paying 100% of those line items for you. So it's not like we're saying we want to know exactly what that is and that's what we're going to pay, in my mind, as one person.
I think it's a good.
Mayor.
Wendy?
Thank you.
Good evening, Wendy Colazzo, Finance Director. Sorry, Mr. Mateo, we haven't had the pleasure. So I just wanted to kind of lay out the groundwork so everybody kind of has the data and doesn't get nervous. First off, anything for $300,000 is a commitment that you would like to invest. You are the choice makers in this. Once that happens, there would be an application process that is not avoided in which you would have to quote, and as a cost accountant background, we do require them to cost account for CPI index growth and everything, but your initial investment would be $300,000 with seeing your rate of return on your investment. We cannot tell you right now that your valuation will be 6 times what it is. We would value that first to give you, again, a good sentence of what you want to do. At this time, this is for the reserves to grab $300,000, and they would have to submit everything before we release any. We're not just releasing funds for anything like that. Additional costs are things that they would later have to come to talk to you all if the CRA. Also, understand that we have a certain amount of funding, and if you fund more than these reserves at this current time unaudited, you would be sacrificing or reallocating from other projects because the CRA has limited funding. So we don't really have additional dollars at this point, because tax valuation only went up $80,000. So just to lay kind of the facts that you have a little bit more control, in the way that this is done, and also are eliminated by the funding availability of it. Your choice on how the program and those funds are expended out.
Mr. Sturgeon?
I'm done. Thank you, ma'am.
Well, I'm not ignoring your motion. You made a motion. Do I have a second?
There's no second for it, so I guess it died.
Okay. Motion dies for lack of a second. Councilmember Matheny?
Thank you. I would make a motion that we approve the fund balance allocation with the $300,000 for the St. Cloud Hotel. I would like to expedite this process and have the city manager and the city attorney and Ms. Colazzo work out the details of the timeline and how the money is distributed to just not delay this any further.
Second.
Would you restate your motion?
Gosh, it was so eloquent.
That we approve the fund balance allocation.
Yes, so approve
And
the
we
fund
have a-
balance allocation as it is, which includes the $300,000 of the St. Cloud Hotel, and authorize the city manager and city attorney and Ms. Colazzo to work out the details of the agreement with the St. Cloud Hotel, including a schedule and the clawback provision that you talked about. And that way, just to get the ball rolling and let's not delay this any further.
We have a motion from Councilmember Matheny, and we have a second from Councilmember Askew.
And I'm fine with us having a meeting in January if we need to hash out more details, because we're literally all we got is one line item, and we're trying to make a decision on that. Okay.
That's not what my motion is, though. So.
I know. And
Mr. Manzares.
Well, I was just, Ms. Matheny just sort of read my mind a little bit. We need some direction from you. Do you want this to come back to you at the next meeting and maybe have the meeting in January, or are you directing that staff work something out for the chairman to sign off on an agreement? That's how I understood
That was
Ms.
my
Matheny's
motion, yes,
motion.
that.
Yeah, and just the way the motion is worded, I am not for it, because it's still a blank check without much detail behind it.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's just, I'm 1 out of 7. So.
Any other discussion?
But could we have consensus to come back in January if this motion passes?
Well, the way we've done these things in the past, and it's happened a few times since I've been city attorney, is that staff does have the authority to negotiate. Negotiation is exactly that. There's 2 parties involved with it. We've got to come to agreement with them. Staff's going to want some things in the agreement, and they may or may not want them. If we can't reach an agreement, then we would necessarily have to come back in front of the CRA to address what we can't reach an agreement on.
in a stalemate.
If we can, exactly.
That's fine.
Any other clarification needed? Voice vote on this?
Yes, sir.
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
And we have one in opposition.
Two.
Two, did I hear two? Thank you. And it passes. We'll be moving forward, okay? Thank you. Monthly, bi-monthly financials.
Good evening again, Wendy Colazzo, Finance Director. Before you, you have the fiscal year 21-22 unaudited financials up to the date of November 16th, 2021. Budgeted currently is $1,702,593. As you can see, up to November 16th, that's only a couple days into the fiscal year. We haven't still received the Osceola County tranche yet of $1.1 million, which is in process now, and we should be expecting in the next 2 weeks, so you'll see it in the next reporting period. And then also there was an incorrect booking of operating interest on the cash in the wrong period. That's why you see a credit of $3,514. That will be adjusted in the following period as well with the true gains on interest once we receive that adjusted report. And then, of course, the interfund transfer coming in at $27,433 as scheduled from the general fund to the CRA. In the opposite end of it, expenditures and other uses, again, very minimal activity with, from November 16th is the ending reporting period. 1 million, again, 702,593 is your budgeted fiscal year 21-22 amount for the CRA. And at this point, 22,820 expended in the categories you see above, which primarily are right now personnel and just regular operating expenditures. Leaving an available balance between the inward revenue of $1,000.98 and 68 between the performance of budget to actual. Again, not a lot of activity at this stage, and we'll continue to, and as always, monitor and report at the next interval for you. If I have, or you have any questions for me, please feel free, and I will be more than happy to answer them for you.
Do we have any questions? I have no questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Loading, do you have anything for us?
No.
Do any of the members here have any
I'd just like to
updates?
wish everyone a Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you,
see
sir.
you at the tree lighting.
Is that tomorrow?
Tomorrow evening.
Tomorrow evening and then the parade Saturday.
Parade Saturday.
Fantastic. That's the high point of the year.
Do we have anyone in the public who would like to make a comment? Our next CRA meeting is scheduled for Thursday, February the 3rd, 2022. With that, there are no other items on our agenda. We will be adjourned. Thank you so much for participating in your government.
I'm about to give my card.